All right, let's let go of seeking out the perfect plan or really any plan and start doing action. I see so many people get bogged down with, should I do keto? Should I do intermittent fasting? Should I be eating a vegetarian vegan lifestyle? Like all of these questions, they've been hearing things. And what the problem is they're indecision fatigue. Like, what should I do? There's so many options. And because they don't feel confident in making a decision, they just stay in this perpetual information cycle loop. I would rather see you say, you know what, not going to worry about any of that right now. Putting that all on the back burner. Here's what I am going to do. I'm just going to write down what I eat for a week. Start with a scientific approach. What's a scientific approach? Well, scientific approach is when you want to make a change, right? So say a scientist wants to bring in a new vaccine, or say that they want to help with global warming, or say that they want to they first have to assess what's currently going on, kind of like what's ground zero. What does this virus look like in a human being's body? Let's study that first. So that way when we go to make a positive change, we inject somebody with a shot, a vaccine, we actually know what's normally happening in a human's body when they're struggling with this particular virus, right? Okay, so a scientific approach is assess the current situation as it is, no alterations whatsoever. As a scientist, you have to learn what the current, I call it like ground zero, like what is going on right now. No variables have changed. Do that approach. Go scientific. Once you have assessed what's going on for a week with your normal eating behaviors, then you can look at making a change. Hey, look, I'm eating 3,000 calories a day. Hey, look, I'm eating out 3 times. Hey, look, I'm drinking a calorie-laden beverage every afternoon. Interesting. Which of those would I like to change? And you start to systematically change variables. But if all we do is go from whatever we're doing today, whatever that is, to somebody else's prescribed plan, it is not a scientific approach because you don't know where you originated from. Okay? If you're taking in 500 grams of carbs a day and you're eating 4,000 calories and you were eating out multiple times and doing all these different things, well, how do you know when you go on a 1,200 calorie a day diet that's only 50 grams of carbs? You know, how do you know what that looks in comparison side by side? You don't. So instead of getting bogged down in all these different plans, all these different formulas, all these different diets that exist, become super and crazy curious about you, okay? Learn what you do. Learn what it looks like before any alterations are made. Then go through that information as a scientist would and say, okay, we see that this virus is operating like this. Well, if we were to say, give them an injection of this, let's see what happens. And then you systematically go through and guess what? Piecemeal, you start to find out what's working. Maybe you pull out the calorie-laden beverages. My weight went down a few pounds. Interesting. I also reduced 200-300 calories out of my diet. Now I find something else. I maybe decide I'm going to get some frozen meals and I'm not going to eat out quite as much, right? Oh, look, there's another 300 calorie drop. And what you're doing is you're systematically going through and changing it. That is what I would encourage every single person to do, because here's the deal. No matter how much you lose, how fast you lose it, if it's going to come back or come back with friends, then it didn't work. It was broken. So if you say, oh, but Heather, keto worked for me. Not if you gain the weight back. Oh, Heather, this worked for me. Not if you gain the weight back. It was a great learning opportunity to see what does and doesn't work for you, but it is not a solution to the problem. The solution resides within you. It's you becoming curious about yourself, your eating behaviors, and changing them slowly over time to where as this weight's falling off, it doesn't come back. So that way you are one of those people who gets to keep your weight off. And maybe you lose 20, 30, 50, 100 pounds, but you keep that weight off long term. So I'd encourage everyone, put on your scientist cap, become wildly curious about what you do right now before you alter a thing. And don't worry about what everyone else is saying, okay? Because honestly, let's be real for a second. If that approach really, really worked, wouldn't one of these diets and all the time that we've been doing this, wouldn't it have gotten some kind of Nobel Peace Prize for being the answer if it legitimately worked? No, everyone's still struggling with the same thing, right? So seeking it outside of yourself is not the answer. Going in is the answer. Becoming curious about you and your behaviors is the answer. Making systematic change to your habits is the answer. I hope that helps. You guys have a great day.